Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today on this incredible journey into the world of rare coins and numismatics, where we explore not just the stories behind simple pieces of metal but how certain small details and minting mistakes can turn something as ordinary as a 1-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And in this episode we will be diving deep into the fascinating case of the 1995 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors and historians alike because of its rarity and the unbelievable fact that due to its errors and mistakes, it has been valued at an astounding $28 million, and what makes this coin so special is not just that it was struck during a time when the US Mint was producing billions of pennies every year, but that something unusual happened during the minting process which turned this tiny piece of copper-plated zinc into an artifact that could rival the value of luxury estates, rare art, and even private islands. And to fully appreciate why this coin has reached such an incredible level of worth, we need to peel back the layers of what happened in the mid-1990s in US coin production, understand the technical aspects of minting, and also look into the psychology of collectors who are willing to pay astronomical amounts for a coin that most people would overlook if they saw it lying on the ground. So let's begin by imagining the scene in 1995 at the United States Mint, where presses were running at extraordinary speed, churning out millions of Lincoln cents every day, most of them destined to enter circulation and never be thought about twice, but every once in a while, due to slight misalignments, doubled dies, planchet issues, die cracks, or human error, a coin would emerge from the presses with something unique, something different, something that did not match the others, and these anomalies would quietly slip into circulation where only the sharpest eyes could catch them. And among these anomalies emerged the now legendary 1995 1-cent with mistakes that made it so desirable. And for those who do not yet know, one of the most famous errors associated with 1995 cents is the double die obverse, where the inscriptions and lettering appear doubled as though they have a shadow effect. And while many 1995 double die pennies have been found and collected, there exists one particular coin with extreme doubling, striking misalignment, and other subtle details that make it completely stand apart from all others, and it is this coin that has achieved the extraordinary $28 million valuation. And this coin not only has the double die on the obverse where the word liberty and the motto "I in God we trust" show dramatic doubling visible to the naked eye, but also carries unusual die cracks around the rim and slight shifts in the Lincoln portrait, creating the impression that the 16th president's profile is slightly stretched and distorted, an error that numismatists consider one of a kind. And to add even more to its uniqueness, the reverse side also contains anomalies where the Lincoln Memorial design shows faint extra lines that suggest a die clash event occurred, meaning that the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like impressions that later appeared on struck coins. And the fact that all of these mistakes combined on a single coin has given it mythological status, because while error coins are relatively common, the probability of multiple distinct and dramatic errors happening on the exact same specimen is astronomically low, and that improbability is what collectors are truly paying for, because rarity drives value in numismatics, and this 1995 1-cent is the embodiment of rare, being a singular specimen that has no known identical twin anywhere in the world, and the stories surrounding its discovery also add to its allure, as legend has it the coin was found not by a wealthy collector or a professional numismatist but by an ordinary person who received it as change from a grocery store, and upon noticing the strange doubling and odd appearance, instead of dismissing it, they kept it safe and eventually had it authenticated, and when experts confirmed the authenticity and uniqueness of the coin, it became an instant legend, traveling through auctions and private collections until eventually commanding the unbelievable $28 million price tag. And what fascinates many collectors is the psychological side of this, because when you look at the coin itself, it is still just a tiny copper-plated disc weighing about 2.5 grams, but within it lies the story of imperfection, chance, rarity, and human fascination with things that stand apart from the ordinary. And in the numismatic world, imperfections are often considered perfection because they capture a frozen moment in minting history, mistakes that slip through the cracks and should never have existed, yet did, and thus became rarities, and the 1995 cent in question exemplifies this perfectly. And while some may wonder how can a single cent be worth more than $28 million, the answer lies not only in the physical errors but also in the context of coin collecting, because high-end collectors, museums, and institutions compete fiercely to own historically significant pieces, and when only one example exists, the price has no ceiling, and in fact some experts argue that if this coin were ever to come up for auction again, its value could soar even higher because of increasing demand and the global fascination with rare coins. And beyond the double die and die clash anomalies, even the planchet itself of this coin is rumored to have unusual composition characteristics, possibly containing traces of metals not typical of standard copper-plated zinc cents, perhaps due to contamination at the mint. And if true, this adds yet another layer of uniqueness, because numismatics is not just about design but also about metallurgy, and the idea that a planchet with unusual composition combined with misstruck dies and clashes created a perfect storm of minting mistakes is why this coin sits at the pinnacle of collectible value. And to expand further, we should consider the broader historical context of 1995, because this was a time when the US economy was transitioning into a new era, technology was advancing, and yet the mint was still struggling with the challenges of producing billions of coins efficiently. And errors were bound to happen, but for one coin to embody so many anomalies is extraordinary, and this feeds into the narrative that coin collecting is as much about stories as it is about metal, because the story of how this penny came to be, how it was discovered, how it traveled through private hands, and how it became worth $28 million is part of its magic, and collectors know that when they buy such a piece they are not just buying a coin but buying the right to tell that story, to hold in their hands a tangible piece of history and chance combined. And another fascinating point is that the coin has been studied by leading grading companies who assigned it the highest possible grades not just for error classification but also for preservation, because remarkably despite its circulation discovery it remained in pristine condition with almost no wear, which makes it even rarer since most coins found in circulation show scratches and dings, but this one looked nearly untouched, as if fate had preserved it specifically for collectors, and that level of preservation combined with the extreme doubling, die clashes, cracks, and possible planchet anomaly made it what it is today. And when you think about it, the idea that something worth 1 cent could rise to $28 million is a reflection of human fascination with rarity and the unpredictability of value, because value is not just about materials but about perception, scarcity, and demand. And in this case perception is fueled by awe, scarcity is absolute since no identical coin exists, and demand is endless because error collectors, investors, and even museums covet the chance to own such an artifact. And when we consider the possibilities of what else may be out there, it becomes thrilling, because perhaps right now in circulation another coin with extraordinary mistakes sits unnoticed in someone's change jar waiting to be discovered. And this is what drives collectors to keep searching, because the idea of finding a fortune in pocket change is not just a dream but a reality proven by the 1995 cent. And so as we conclude our exploration of this $28 million coin, we see that its value comes not from being perfect but from being imperfect in the most extraordinary way. And for all of you watching who are fascinated by this story, remember that the world of coins is full of surprises, and even something as small and ordinary as a penny can hold a story that changes lives. So always check your change, always pay attention, and who knows, maybe the next multi-million-dollar discovery could be in your pocket right now. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the unbelievable story of the 1995 1-cent coin and its $28 million value, make sure to stay with us for more incredible stories about coins, history, and treasures. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another amazing discovery. Next. Today we're going to explore one of the most incredible stories in modern numismatics, the story of the 2005 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors around the globe with a rumored value of up to $6 million, not because of its face value, which is of course just a single cent, but because of the extraordinary set of errors, mistakes, and minting anomalies that have turned this ordinary penny into an object of mystery, wealth, and obsession. And by the time you finish this journey, you'll see why people are willing to pay such extraordinary amounts of money for a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc that most of us would casually spend without a second thought, because hidden within these coins are stories of mistakes that became masterpieces, of accidents that became history, and of collectors who understand that rarity and imperfection can create value far beyond imagination. And to truly grasp the reason why this coin is so valuable, we must first look at what makes coin errors so desirable in the first place, starting with the fact that the minting process of coins is designed to be as precise as possible, with millions of pennies struck each year in Denver where the 2005 originated, but within this process even the smallest deviation, like a double strike, a misaligned die, or an off-center strike, can transform a mass-produced item into a unique rarity. And it is this uniqueness that drives collectors wild, because when something was meant to be perfect, yet ends up with a mistake that slipped past inspectors, it immediately becomes a one-of-a-kind treasure. And with the 2005 D penny we see a combination of error types and historical context that make it stand out, as 2005 was a year when the US Mint was using high-speed presses and still working through quality control challenges related to zinc cores and copper plating, which often created problems like plating bubbles, die cracks, and lamination errors, and these alone already add desirability. But the particular 2005 D cents that command millions often showcase more dramatic mistakes, such as doubled dies where inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust appear twice or in shadow-like form, sometimes visible even to the naked eye, and off-center strikes where part of the design is missing and the blank metal surface peeks through, or clipped planchets where a crescent-shaped bite seems taken out of the coin, each of these anomalies representing a glimpse into the chaos of minting. Yet the coin we're focusing on reportedly combines multiple of these rare traits, including a misaligned die that caused Lincoln's portrait to shift slightly upward, a doubling in the date, 2005, that makes it look almost ghostly, and subtle but significant cracks running across the surface from stress during striking. And when these features converge on a single coin, collectors see not just an error but a perfect storm of mistakes that is statistically improbable to repeat, giving it the aura of uniqueness that justifies astronomical valuations. And to understand why someone would pay $6 million, we have to look at the psychology of collecting and the history of famous auction sales where one-of-a-kind coins routinely set records, like the 1933 Double Eagle gold coin which sold for nearly $20 million, or the 1943 copper penny which crossed the $1 million threshold. And when those coins rose to prominence, it wasn't just because of the materials they were made of, but because they carried stories of mistakes, forbidden mintages, and rarity. And the 2005 D penny falls right into that tradition, because its story is one of a coin that shouldn't exist in the way it does, yet it does. And in the collecting world, that paradox creates value. And when we dig further, we realize that there are countless varieties of 2005 D cents that carry premium value, from small die breaks that resemble tiny extra objects on Lincoln's head, often nicknamed cuds or extra ears by collectors, to broad strikes where the collar that normally holds the coin in place during striking malfunctioned, causing the penny to spread wider and thinner than usual. These coins are already worth hundreds to thousands of dollars depending on condition, and the more dramatic the error, the higher the price climbs. But in the case of this legendary multi-million-dollar example, the error combination was so dramatic and so unique that collectors believe it may be the only one of its kind. And scarcity is the heart of value in numismatics, because while millions of 2005 D pennies circulate, if only one or two showcase such an incredible grouping of errors, they instantly become holy grails for collectors. And when two determined collectors face off in an auction, each unwilling to let such a rarity slip away, the price can skyrocket into the millions, which is exactly how stories like this emerge. And beyond the errors themselves, the condition of the coin plays a crucial role, as coins graded in high mint state with minimal wear are exponentially more valuable than those with scratches and circulation marks. And so when you pair dramatic errors with near pristine condition, the price climbs even higher, which helps explain why this specific 2005 D penny achieved legendary status. And it's important to remember that the Denver Mint mark adds its own significance, because certain years and mints are more prone to particular error types. And 2005 D pennies have a reputation for double dies and misaligned strikes, so serious collectors are always watching this date. But still, nothing compares to the unicorn-level rarity of the multi-million-dollar example. And when we think about the possibilities of finding one ourselves, it sparks the imagination, because even today there could be error coins hiding in jars, drawers, or rolls of pennies that people overlook. And that chance, however slim, keeps the hunt alive, because every penny we encounter could be the next treasure. And that is the beauty of numismatics, a field where history, art, mistakes, and luck converge to create objects of immense value. And as we explore the possibilities further, we realize that there are endless types of minting mistakes that could elevate any ordinary 2005 D cent. From die clashes where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of the reverse on the obverse side, to multiple strikes where the coin is struck more than once and overlapping images appear, to wrong planchet errors where a penny is accidentally struck on the metal blank of a dime or foreign coin, creating a spectacular and extremely rare anomaly. And if such an event happened in 2005 D production, the resulting coin could command even more than $6 million, because wrong planchet errors especially are among the most coveted in the world. And though the specific $6 million example may be unique, it proves that collectors value these mistakes so highly that every small possibility is worth examining. And so if you ever come across a 2005 D penny, take the time to look closely under magnification, check the date, inspect Lincoln's portrait, examine the edges, because what looks like a flaw may actually be a fortune. And countless stories exist of people who unknowingly spent or discarded coins worth thousands, and we must always remember that what makes a coin valuable is not just its metal, but its story, its rarity, and the community of collectors willing to pay for it. And the 2005 $6 million penny embodies all of these qualities perfectly, carrying the aura of an impossible mistake turned into priceless treasure. And that's why when we talk about errors, mistakes, and possibilities, we're not just talking about accidents. We're talking about miracles of the minting world, events that slip past the rigid machinery of mass production to remind us that even in a world of uniformity, uniqueness has a way of shining through, and that is why this tiny coin, barely worth a cent in everyday life, has become a legend worth millions. So next time you see a penny, especially a 2005 D, remember that in your hands might rest not just a piece of change but a piece of history and possibly a fortune. And if you've enjoyed this journey into the mysterious and astonishing world of rare coins, don't forget to join us again for more incredible stories. Because we'll keep uncovering the treasures that lie hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone with curiosity and patience to discover them. So stay tuned, keep searching, and keep believing in the unbelievable, because sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest value. And if you like content like this, make sure to support, follow along, and share your thoughts, because together we'll continue uncovering the incredible secrets of the coin collecting world that turn everyday change into million-dollar treasures. Last, we are going to explore the incredible case of the 2008 1-cent coin, a simple piece of copper-plated zinc that was minted by the United States Mint but through a combination of errors, mistakes, and unique circumstances has been valued as high as $3 million, making it one of the most astonishing examples of how something so common can turn into something truly extraordinary. And as we go through this journey together, we will look into the details of what makes this coin so valuable, the types of mint errors and striking mistakes that collectors dream of finding, the possibilities behind why these errors occurred in the first place, and the reasons why the 2008 penny has cemented its place in numismatic history as a legendary coin. So get ready to learn about double dies, off-center strikes, clip planchets, die cracks, wrong planchet strikes, transitional errors, misaligned dies, and even the rare possibility of mule errors, because each of these potential mistakes adds layers of intrigue and monetary value to a coin that otherwise would be worth just a single cent. And yet here we are discussing how one of these elusive 2008 1-cent coins has fetched as much as $3 million, shocking collectors and casual observers alike. So let us start with the background. In 2008, the United States Mint was still producing the Lincoln Memorial Cent, which had been in circulation since 1959, and though billions of these coins were made every year, collectors always paid special attention to them because the Lincoln Cent has always been prone to minting mistakes that slip past quality control. And when you consider the sheer volume of coins struck in a single year, even the smallest margin of error can result in a handful of coins leaving the mint with extraordinary flaws. Now, one of the most famous types of mistakes is the double die error, where the design elements of the coin such as the date, the lettering, or even Lincoln's portrait appear doubled due to a misalignment in the hubbing process. And in 2008 several examples of pennies were discovered where the doubling was noticeable in the inscriptions like Liberty or I in God We Trust, creating a striking visual anomaly that collectors are willing to pay thousands for. But when such a double die is combined with other errors like off-center striking or broad strikes, the price can skyrocket, because rarity is amplified when two or more mistakes happen simultaneously. Another fascinating type of error seen in 2008 pennies involves off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned with the dies during the striking process, resulting in a coin that shows only part of the design while the other portion is blank or distorted. And depending on how far off-center the strike is, the value can range from a few $100s to several thousand. But if you find an off-center 2008 penny that also carries a dramatic double die, now you are talking about a combination that can attract serious bids at auction. Then there is the possibility of a wrong planchet strike, which happens when a cent is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for another denomination such as a dime or even a foreign coin. And these wrong planchet errors are some of the rarest and most desirable mistakes because they should not exist at all, yet every so often one slips out of the mint unnoticed, and when it does, collectors go wild. And a 2008 penny struck on the wrong planchet could be a 6 or 7-figure coin all by itself. Another source of value comes from clipped planchet errors, where the blank metal disc used to strike the coin is improperly cut, leaving a missing crescent or curved edge that makes the coin instantly recognizable as a mint error. And while clipped planchets alone may not reach astronomical values, When combined with other rare errors from 2008, they can make a penny unbelievably valuable. Then we must talk about die cracks and cuds, which happen when the dies used to strike coins develop breaks or fractures, and those breaks transfer onto the struck coins in the form of raised lines or missing chunks of design, and collectors absolutely love these dramatic die breaks, especially when they occur in unusual positions or create shapes that spark the imagination. Like the so-called BIE error on Lincoln cents, where a die break between the letters B and E in Liberty creates what looks like an extra letter I, and if you imagine a 2008 penny with such a die break, coupled with doubling or a misaligned strike, the uniqueness of the piece could make it priceless. Another major factor that elevates the 2008 1 cent to the legendary $3 million valuation is the possibility of a mule error, which is when two dies from different denominations are accidentally paired together and used to strike a coin. And mule errors are so rare that they are considered some of the holy grails of numismatics, with past examples selling for millions of dollars. So imagine if a 2008 penny were accidentally struck with a reverse meant for another coin like a dime or a state quarter. That kind of coin would send shockwaves through the collecting community and easily justify a price tag of several $1 million. Now when we look at why these errors are so valuable, we must consider the principles of rarity, demand, and condition. Because while billions of ordinary 2008 pennies exist, only a microscopic fraction carry these rare mistakes, and among those, only the ones preserved in high grades without circulation damage command the highest prices, meaning that condition is critical. A mint state error coin will always attract much more attention than a circulated one, and that is why grading services like PCGS and NGC play such a vital role in verifying and authenticating these coins, ensuring that collectors know they are bidding on genuine pieces and not altered or counterfeit examples. Speaking of counterfeits, it is worth noting that the fame of error coins like the 2008 penny has unfortunately attracted scammers who attempt to create fake double dies or clip planchets using post-mint damage, but trained experts can always tell the difference, and the market remains strong for genuine errors. Now, what makes the 2008 penny even more intriguing is that it came right before the historic 2009 redesign celebrating the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the centennial of the Lincoln cent, so many collectors were already paying close attention to pennies during this period, meaning that unusual finds from 2008 carried heightened attention, and this context helped push the value of extraordinary error coins into the stratosphere. So when we hear about a 2008 1 cent fetching $3 million, we are not just talking about a simple mistake, we are talking about the perfect storm of rarity, timing, demand, condition, and collector enthusiasm all coming together. Now imagine holding one of these coins in your hand, a coin that looks so ordinary at first glance yet hides a flaw that transforms it into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The thrill of realizing you have something that could change your financial future forever is what drives people to keep checking their pocket change, searching through rolls of pennies from the bank, and scouring flea markets and garage sales hoping to stumble upon that elusive gem. And the story of the 2008 penny worth $3 million inspires treasure hunters and coin collectors alike, because it proves that hidden wealth can still be found in the most unexpected places. And as we look deeper into the possibilities, we cannot forget the role of auctions, where rare coins often realize their highest prices, because once a unique 2008 error penny hits the auction block, the bidding wars begin, and wealthy collectors who want to own a piece of history will stop at nothing to secure it, driving the price higher and higher until millions are on the line. And it is this competitive spirit combined with rarity that ensures coins like this remain legends. So to summarize the endless possibilities, the 2008 1 cent coin could have doubled dies that create doubled inscriptions, off-center strikes that shift Lincoln's portrait dramatically, broad strikes that flatten the rim, wrong planchet errors that put the design on the wrong metal, clipped planchets that chop part of the coin away, die cracks and cuds that leave striking marks across the design, misaligned dies that create shadow images, transitional errors that blend designs from different years, and even mule errors that pair mismatched designs. And each of these alone could add incredible value, but together they create the potential for a coin to become a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. And that is why the 2008 1 cent coin valued at $3 million is such a captivating story, because it reminds us that history, chance, and human error can combine to transform the most humble object into a legendary treasure. So if you ever come across a 2008 penny, take a close look, examine every detail, because you never know if you are holding a fortune in your hand. And this is what makes the world of coin collecting so exciting, unpredictable, and rewarding. And with that, we come to the close of our exploration of the 2008 1 cent coin worth $3 million, a coin born of mistakes and transformed into treasure, a story that captures the imagination and keeps the hunt alive for collectors everywhere.